Good morning, everyone. Thanks firstly to Vim and for Alps for arranging today's session and inviting us all along to talk about open access and the daily challenge. So Vim floated the idea to the three of us a few months back and said, instead of talking about the usual open access topics, dig a little deeper and look at it from a publisher's perspective and how they manage their customers on a day-to-day basis and maintain a relationship with each of them. Now, for me, this was a really interesting question and posed something altogether very new. Who exactly is the customer of an open access publisher? Now, believe it or not, this is a question I'm asked on a regular basis. Is it the authors, those paying the article processing charge, our editors, our reviewers, or the funders themselves? Now, since looking after customer services at BMC, I spent the last year showcasing to other departments and colleagues, our new starters, what it is exactly our customer services department do. And pretty much most of them think it's just looking after credit card payments or taking the money or dealing with complaints. So I'm hoping this session will go through into the other ways that we look after our customers. But when you think about the breakdown on all our different stakeholders and the range of people that we work with, it's actually not as a stupid question as you might think. So BMC have 265 open access journals. Springer Open have 190 plus journals. We've got thousands of submissions a month, thousands of reviewers working on those submissions. Currently, we've got 710 editors-in-chief, 7,500 subject advisors. And we've also got 500 members worldwide. That's a lot of people that we work with on a day-to-day basis. And each have different goals themselves and require a different level of service. So I guess for the publisher, you have to think about what's your essential criteria to achieving high author satisfaction. Now, for me and for us, it's access to the publisher, support, and an excellent user experience. If you can get this balance right, you're on the road to high customer satisfaction, which isn't the ultimate goal, which isn't just the ultimate goal for my customer services department. It's the goal for any open access publisher. Okay, so the good old days when it was just us doing our thing, no one to compare our journals to, our services to, and just sort of ticking away. Now, very different pool altogether. There's a lot of others offering very similar things in all sorts of fun and exciting ways. So now more than ever, you have to make sure you're providing the necessary services to be able to help our customers sift through all the barrage of information when they're deciding to choose open access as a publishing option. So just to go back to our stakeholders again, thousands of researchers submitting their papers, our members, we work with editors, our journals, societies, funders, a lot of people that we work with on a day-to-day basis. But we have to split those into different customer groups because I wish my team of 6 customer services executives could look after each of them equally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's just not possible. So you have to split them up into groups and work out what service is right for them. Now, for my customer services team, their main work and who they really look after is the first group I wanted to talk to you about, and that's the author. Now, for the author, it's their research, it's their submission, it's their choice of publisher, their choice of journal. So it's their expectations that you have to meet in the first instance. I guess, and the first thing that they're going to need is when they reach us and come to submit to that journal, they're going to spend a lot of time with us from submission to publication. So at any one point it goes wrong, they're going to want to be able to get in touch with us. So the first thing for us is to make sure we're accessible. So pretty much the info@biomedcentral.com is splashed all over the website, on our contact us page, on the Springer Open pages. We've even got a little map. There's a fax number. We still receive faxes. Our lovely faces. You've got Elle, Jimmy, and Alex there. And actually, they're direct emails. So we're trying to offer a bit of reassurance, making sure that they can get to us if they need to. We're even on every single journal contact us page. So here we're on parasites and vectors, and Journal of Experimental Clinical Cancer Research. So all these different avenues and routes to reach us. What's the traffic like? How much is coming in? Are we getting queries from these authors? Pretty much my only graph, so don't worry. I guess to boil it down, at the last 2 quarters, we've been roughly getting 4,000 cases a month. Now this shows closed cases, which is effectively a query that's come in to info@biomedcentral.com. We've looked at it, a customer services exec has picked it up, looked into it, found the resolution, and got back to the customer, closed that case. So that's 4,000 cases we close every month in the last quarter. And you can see pretty much quarter on quarter, year on year, the number of cases are going up, which makes sense. We're launching more journals, more researchers are choosing open access as a publishing option. But I'd love to tell you my team's growing at the same rate, but it's not. So we have to work out ways to sort of balance this and handle the traffic. And one of the ways that we did this is open up a small team in Manila, looking after exactly the same things as we do, but trying to offer around-the-clock service and the weekends as well. So at any point, our researchers can get in touch with us and get some sort of level of service, and we can maintain our 24-hour turnaround time that we advertise on our website. Okay, so that's the traffic. What sort of queries are we getting? I've got a few examples here. I thought I'd like to share them with you. I submitted a manuscript untitled X, but I made a mistake. It was not the good version. Can you cancel this submission, please, and we will do another one. Excuse me for this error and best regards. Okay, it's very helpful. Please do. We'd like the good stuff. When I click on your web link, I was able to get the proper page. Why was I unable to access the same menu from the journal webpage? Or how can I access this menu? Okay, I'm going to need a little bit more information, like maybe a link or what journal you're on. So we get back to them, we find out, and we work it out together. This is my favorite. Who is the best doctor in the world to treat Carverus, excuse my pronunciation, hemangioma permanently without recurrence? Please suggest and give his or her mail ID. Thank you. All in caps. So we're also medical advisors as well, but we cannot answer that. We don't. So we tell them, please, we can't provide any email addresses. So that's a lot of traffic. That's a lot of different queries. So I guess how do we manage it? Okay, very complicated flowchart here. So customer service is at the heart. We're at the front line of all queries. Now, the cases I mentioned to you before, we have 33 different case types. So that's 33 different queries that can come up with all different workflows and solutions to fix them. 18 of those, customer services can handle themselves. The others, we have to rely and work with other departments to get that answer. A good example is a manuscript status query. So an author submitted, it's been 3 hours, they want to know an update of their research paper and how it's going. So they contact us immediately. Now, in all honesty, they don't always want to hear a stock answer from customer services. They want to hear from publishing. They want to hear from an executive editor. So we then pass it on to a contact in publishing for whoever's looking after that journal, and we ask them to follow up on our behalf. But then we chase that person to make sure they do follow up. Because if it goes wrong or there's a breakdown in that service, that author who's submitting and spending X amount of time with us is going to spend £1,000 plus on an article processing charge. If that experience is bad, they're not going to want to submit again, and they're definitely not going to want to pay for it. So there's been a million times when I've walked into the coffee areas at work, and I can hear production moaning, why are they calling me at lunch to get an answer to someone? Why are they doing this? I'm getting so many chase emails. It's because we have to. Okay, so just to round it up, I think 365 journals that customer services have the email address on all of them. 6,200 submissions a month, 5 authors roughly per manuscript. That's 36,000 people to impress each month. They're going to have to feel that they're getting access to the publisher, they're getting the right support, and they're happy with that user experience or that submission process. If that was the only kind of customer group, we'd all be able to go to lunch a little bit earlier, but I'd like to share a few others that are really part of our customer services here. The next one's the institution. Open access is now a must at many institutions, whether they've got block grants from funders, they're creating their own budgets to support their authors or researchers' APCs, they're building their repositories, filling up their repositories, all sorts of different things, or doing all of the above. Now, for the publisher, we should be able to help them and guide them and provide solutions and ways to manage all this. Because although these are positive steps and ways forward in implementing open access support at institutions, it doesn't mean it's easy to do. So, some of the ways that we do this is our membership program, something a lot of publishers are doing as well. It's a way for institutions to set up affordable and manageable ways to support their researchers in publishing in our journal. Very much like the customer services department, we have a membership department that are dedicated to looking after our 500 members worldwide in 50 different countries. But the service is very different. They have very different queries. Their research output's very different, and there's different levels of publishing, so it all requires a little bit of tailored help. And this is what these guys do. So what else does the Biomed Central do to offer that support and round it off? Not the best screenshot, but that's actually a very important bit of kit. That's our email notification that we send to membership administrators when their membership's being used. So it's quite a big involvement from the institution, and they're going to want to know who's using the membership and is it the right person? Is it someone that just sort of walked on campus one day and submitted a paper? They want to check the affiliation and track how much usage it's getting. We offer a members page for every single one of our members. It's got their logo, the mission statement, and we show all the publications that have come from that institution. User statistics, they want to know, are they getting the visibility? Is it worth the money? Are they achieving, is open access working for them via their membership? I'm mentioning alt metrics again, as did Phil, because we now have to show other ways of showing the trends. It's no longer enough to make it open access. Are they getting the value for money for that APC? Automated repository feeds. If a member, when their author submits and publishes in our journal, we automatically deposit that article straight into their repository. So we're trying to offer a bit of green support and help them fill it up because we know it's not always as easy to get authors to do that last little bit that they're supposed to do. And last but not least is our online banking. Yes, we even have online banking for our prepay members and shared support. They're giving us large sums of money up front, and they're going to have to be able to track that money. So we offer, they can run statements, see how much money is left in the pot, see who's published. They can even see what's in submission, the guys that might be coming through, and use some of that money in the coming months. So there's ways of tracking and monitoring and managing those funds that they put up front. So we try to engage with our members as much as possible. We work with them very closely. We do site visits, tutorials, and all the tools that I just described. We do mailings with them, so their researchers are aware of these great options that they put in place for them centrally at the university. It's very easy for researchers just to assume everything's provided for at the institution and they can submit and publish, no hassles. But it's also better for them to know exactly what's on offer and how to use it. So again, different customer group, different levels of service, but those three criteria: access, support, and good user experience. The funder, a bit of a tricky customer group because we don't always work directly with them, but I think it's the role of the publisher to make sure that they're providing as much information to their users as possible about the funding information that's out there, all the various mandates and policies and guidelines, and take it a step further and help them manage that information. So we do it in various different ways. We have our open access mandate policies page. It breaks down all the funding options in every country. And yep, there's our customer services email address again, just in case they have any follow-up questions. This is quite interesting. Cardiff University have set up a membership with their RCUK funds. NWO have set up a separate membership to cover their, to put money up front to cover their researchers with their grant money. The way they do this is with a submission code. So they divvy this out to the researchers that are eligible to use that money. So before the submission's even happening, they're already tracking the right researchers, are using the right journals, and ticking those boxes for them. So there's ways to help them through this. We also, on our database, have tried to find out as much open access information about each of our institutions. So here you can see the University of Birkbeck has an open access policy, has an institutional repository, and an open access fund. So an author wanting to find out what sort of support that they can get can come to the Biomed Central homepage, they get the welcome panel and find it all in an instant. And so we're trying to answer as many questions as possible before that submission's even happened, so they don't do the wrong thing or get the right information before they make or choose that journal. Okay, I didn't know what to call this group. Is it publishing? Is it editorial? But then I thought the actual customer is the journal. Now, I've already mentioned that the customer services email address is on every single journal contact us page. There's a whole nother level beneath that that's looking after the journal, looking after societies, and working on development. So we have journal development editors and managers dedicated to every single one of our journals, and not just looking after the usual publishing process from submission to publication to peer review. They're actually looking at a lot more. They're trying to attract the quality content, working with editors to promote the good quality articles that are published, get that readership, get that visibility. We do author workshops all over the world, so I guess researchers that are coming to open access for the first time, we're showing them the journal, showing them how to submit, what the article should look like. Ensuring you have happy authors, again, that access, that user experience, and that they're pleased with the submission process. Increasing citations, of course, making sure the peer review is fast and efficient and stays fast and efficient. Because these journals grow, there's more submissions and more publications year on year. So it's really important to maintain that and keep up with that growth. Supporting the society, working with the editors. We have Editors' Day now, so for 2 days, all our editors for the journals come into the office and they're just working out ways to improve on the next year and other ways and other tools that they might need to get the best out of the journal and the best out of us. And I guess the ultimate goal is to increase the visibility, increase citations, and get that impact factor or increase that impact factor. So to summarize, I hope the one thing you can take home with you is that customer services is not just complaints and payments. It's not just looking after the authors or author services. As a publisher, we have to make sure we're providing the same level of service for institutions, funders, and many layers of people involved in the journal itself. They are all our customers at some stage or all of the publication process, and every department is responsible for providing the customer service to their groups. It's essential that we're working with all these different groups, providing the right service for them to make sure that they're happy when they come to us to submit that article, or start that journal, or find out the information about their institution. And it takes it a step further because you build those relationships and then work with those respective customer groups and improve and grow while open access continues to grow as well. So thank you very much.